It's the year 2004, and Utah quarterback at the time, Alex Smith, was asked about the Holy War. And yes, this is the same Alex Smith that played for the Chiefs, for the 49ers. He was slinging it back in the day in Utah. High NFL draft pick, broke some records there. And he said something that really caught my eye. Quote, "I really hate them," talking about BYU. "Playing in that game helped me understand. It's the whole church versus state thing. They're the good kids, and we're the bad kids." Folks, I want y'all to listen here. The Holy War is the most unique rivalry in not just college football, but all of sports, quite possibly the world. My point here is you will get nothing like this. I grew up in the South, okay? So I grew up around Tennessee fans, Alabama fans, Auburn fans, you name it, Georgia fans. And those rivalries, while they're incredibly intense, and they're what makes the sport of college football great. They're completely dependent and derived on what's happened on the field. Utah and BYU is insanely deep and personal because it is entirely dependent on what's happened off the field. And on the field, of course, it matters. My overarching point here is these are two entirely different cultures with two different belief systems. And those of you that don't know, BYU, fully Mormon school. They adhere to the Mormon code of no coffee, premarital sex, drinking, etc. Utah is a state school. So it's a separation of church and state. And these schools are only separated by 45 miles. Okay? And there's a reason. Former Utah head coach Wayne Howard was asked about it, the Holy War, and he said, quote, "There's too much religion involved." I did not like that. When have you ever heard a coach say anything about that? By the way, he was 1-4 against BYU. So, we'll get to the actual nitty-gritty of the game. I'll have my prediction later on in the video. But I wanted to give you guys a history lesson of what that quote by Alex Smith meant and what that quote by Wayne Howard, former Utah coach, meant. Okay? Because my thesis here is you will never get anything like the Holy War in sports, especially in America, quite possibly the world. I 100% believe that ESPN made the wrong decision and going to Georgia and Ole Miss. This is the first time these two teams are playing each other ranked since 2009. So not only do you have the personality, which is off the charts, but these two teams have a lot to play for. There's a heck of a lot of playoff hopes here, right? So, okay. In 1989, this is a few years after BYU won their national championship with LaVell Edwards. At the time, they've won 9 of their last 10, so they're dominating this rivalry. And BYU is at home, lost the year before to Utah. And BYU fans, I kid you not, were seen wearing shirts saying 9 of the last 10, right, because BYU won 9 of the last 10, and the tagline, bottom of the shirt said, "The Lord saith, give 10%. First off, do the math, right? BYU lost 10% of the games the last 10 years. Duh. But in Mormon doctrine, in the Mormon church doctrine, Joseph Smith talks about giving 10% to the local church, right? Leviticus 27, Deuteronomy 14. This is mentioned as well in the word of the stereotypical giving 10%. When have you ever seen anything like that in any other sport ever? 2013, Utah players release a mock baptism. A mock baptism, right? Make their own video. As later on, you'd see Utah fans taking pictures of them having mock communions. You know, in church, you have the tiny cup with the grape juice, whether that may be. Well, some of these Utah fans decided to replace them with Jell-O shots. Because remember, in the BYU Mormon and the Mormon code, the honor code, I wouldn't say Mormon code, the honor code, if you will, they're not allowed to drink. And this quote, just listen to this. This is mind-boggling when I saw this. I had a lot of fun time researching this rivalry. I learned a lot. Okay. 2007, BYU wide receiver Austin Collie, okay, ended up playing in the NFL, caught a game-winning touchdown. BYU won the game, and he had a quote that just blew my mind, to which he said, obviously, quote, when you're doing what's right on and off the field, I think the Lord steps in and plays a part in it. Magic happens. Oh. I'm sorry, what? What did he just say? Do we know what it's derived towards? Was he just saying it just to say it? Was it towards Utah players? Don't know. But the reality of it is, the reason why I'm telling you all this is because this is a complete clash of two cultures. This is the modern day church versus state. But if you took it and put it in college football terms, this is if the prayer versus no prayer in public schools debate was a college football game. And yeah, that's a pretty outlandish quote to say, but I stand by that. There is so much depth and personality to this game that is ungrueling hatred. I mean, some crazy moments have happened in this game. You talk about Utah rushing the field 3 times. There was an instant in I believe it was 1999, when a BYU fan attacked a Utah male cheerleader. Male, keyword, in which the Utah cheerleader pinned down the BYU fan and started pummeling him in front of the whole section. And so, yeah, there's crazy stuff that's happened in this game. There is an onslaught of history that if I had made a 2-hour video, maybe I will do that one day, a long 2-hour video, I could go absolutely in-depth in. But this game is nothing like any rivalry in college sports. Because you talk about Ohio State, Michigan. Yes, they absolutely hate each other, but it's entirely football sports related. You see elections, religion statistics, typically similar cultures. Alabama, Auburn, same thing. That is not the case with BYU and Utah, and these two schools are just 45 miles away from each other. And that's what makes this game so unique, and the most unique rivalry in all of college football. Okay. So long story short, I believe College Game Day made a bad decision, because this is one of the 5 best rivalries in college football. It's the most unique one. It has the most personality to it by far. You could say that or Army and Navy, whatever one, pick and choose. Long story short, when I researched this rivalry, I learned so much. I highly recommend you do the same. I am freaking pumped for this game. Teams. Both of these teams have great secondaries in the top 20 in college football in least yards per pass attempt allowed, 5.8 and 5.9. Both of these have really good rush defenses. BYU sitting at 3.6 yards per carry allowed. Utah sitting at 4.1. So those front sevens can play. Both good running teams. Utah with the slight edge, 5.6. BYU, 4.7 yards per carry on the year. Both very, very good. Both of these teams also have extremely similar game plans and ways of beating you. BYU and Utah are 115th and 117th in pass play frequency. So just 40% of these teams' plays are passes. Much more runs. So expect this to be a smash mouth type of football game. And both have QBs who can pass. Bear Backmeyer has been good at times. The West Virginia game. The Arizona game, different question. But not necessarily... You're not necessarily going to put the game on these two guys' back. Devon Dampier for example, right? He's been great this season, but then you have the Texas Tech game where you're like, okay. So both have quarterbacks that fit within the game plan of what they are trying to accomplish. So, well, I usually look for these games and I'm like, is there an advantage in the front seven? Is there an advantage in the secondary? No, there really isn't with any of these positional units. They're similar in pretty much every facet of the game, right? So it's basically Utah's got a slight quarterback advantage with Dampier, right? But BYU has the home field advantage. And based on everything that I just told you, some sports books are going to give this your stereotypical 3.5, 2.5. It's more than that. This home field is going to be nuts and absolutely rambunctious because there's a lot of personal hatred in this game. It's more than just football. So, since I tried to look for an advantage and couldn't find one, I'm going to defer to the model. And the 3HM has BYU winning by minus 0.5 points. It's a 3.5 point spread right now towards Utah. I'm going to bet BYU against that spread. I'm going to bet BYU to win at plus 142. I like the value there. Due to the quarterback advantage, have got to stick with Utah. Just barely pulls it out. So I'm going with Utah to win straight up. But I'm betting on BYU. I like the value there. The plus 142 money line. I like the plus 3.5. I think they cover that. And I think Utah wins. We're going to go 21-20. And a close one. And the home field will be nuts. And this game, I'll put it this way. College football is better when the Holy War is here. And hopefully here to stay.